I'm so excited that you are joining us today. So we are going to be walking through all of what the OneClickApp software has to offer, and I'm so excited to dive in. This is really the opportunity to get a great feel for generally what the app looks like and how you and your team can best use it. Keep in mind, all of this is fully customizable. So anything that you see that you're like, it's not quite what we're looking for, or our restaurant doesn't quite do it that way, great, let us know. We can make those adjustments and really make this user-friendly for you and what your leaders need to run an even smoother shift than what they're already experiencing. Let's get started. To get started today, we're going to walk through the general features of the OneClickApp and show you everything that it has to offer, and then we'll get into the details of how to use them and how it can help your shifts be just a little bit smoother. Here at the top, we have the date that we're viewing, as well as all the times and shifts that are the setups that are available for that day. We have our main setup area, so you can see all the positions listed for our front of house. And then we have our team member roster here on the side, which tells us a ton of information that we'll get to here in a little bit, but this is going to be the main place that we go to reference most of our information for the day-to-day setups. If you scroll to the bottom here, you'll find some administrative information here on the bottom, along with today's date. You can see the last time that Hot Schedules was synced with OneClickApp. This is a super awesome feature that Hot Schedules really is truly real-time syncing. So it allows any changes that are made on Hot Schedules to be reflected pretty quickly on the OneClickApp. So any adjustments you make to your schedule or positions, whatever that looks like for your team, you can make sure that those are reflected here. We have the version of the app that's actually a link, so you can view any additional information. If you have questions about the features that came out on the latest version, you can go ahead and reference those there, along with the store name location and the person who is signed in. Here on the left-hand side, we have a number of tabs that take us to different parts of the app. So this calendar icon is going to take us to this main page that we're viewing right now. This tab, back of house tab, is actually going to allow us to toggle between different areas of the restaurant. So for this particular store, we have the back of house and front of house options. So if you click on that, you can see the positions are adjusted, as well as the setup times available. And then if we scroll here to the top, you can see the team members are adjusted as well based on who is back of house, who is front of house. You can also add areas like your OLD delivery service, along with catering. Maybe you want one that's separating the front counter and the drive-through areas. So really make this custom to your restaurant and what would be most helpful for you to use. Next, we have our team member tab. So if you click on this, it's going to take us to our training module and view all of our team members and their information for training. So lots of helpful information here that we'll dive into here in a little bit. This chicken icon takes us to the account that's logged in. It takes us to their information, as well as gives us the option to sign out if we need to. So a ton of information here as well. We can go ahead and click go back. The cowboy hat is really nice because this allows the restaurant to have any account that is signed in. Usually restaurants use an administrative account that has pretty basic access across the OneClickApp features. And then a guest can come by, click on this cowboy hat, and type in their PIN number to sign in with their permissions temporarily. So let's say a trainer wants to make adjustments to a team member's account who has just gone through some training for a position. Great, they can click on that cowboy hat, type in their PIN number, and have temporary permissions to make those adjustments. This is super handy because it really helps, and it's less chaotic than having to fully sign out of the account and then fully sign into another account for those permissions. So really helpful feature there. I'm going to click cancel. And then this final tab is if you have more than one restaurant that you are managing and would like access to view multiple restaurants at a time, you can switch back and forth between those restaurants by clicking on this tab and selecting the store accordingly that you're wanting to view. So to get back to the main page, we're going to click on this main calendar icon, and there you go. Let's dive into some details. the layout selector here at the top of the page. So right now we're viewing today's date along with the standard 11, 2, and 5 p.m. setup times that are automatically created within the OneClick app. But let's make some adjustments. So first of all, if you click on today, it's actually going to reflect all of the different dates that are available for you to view and make adjustments to and create the setups for. Dates are not available until Hot Schedules has the schedule posted for that date. So once Hot Schedules is posted for the week, then you will be able to have access, but not before. So just a heads up there. So I can click on, let's say, reviewing tomorrow. I can click on Thursday, and you can see all the different times that are listed. And then I can easily navigate right back to today's setup. I do want to go ahead and focus on today's setup, so let's go ahead and stay here. We have the 11, 2, and 5, but I do want to make sure that breakfast is really good to go. So I'm going to add this, click on this plus sign, and we can see a prompt here. So we have a couple prompts of standard times where we create setups for are going to be listed here, but we can also click on this time frame and in half-hour increments, select whatever time we're wanting to view. I'm going to go ahead and do a 9 a.m. setup and click Create. You can see as well all of the positions for the front counter adjusted according to the time frame. So breakfast can look different. Your transitionary time frames can look different, especially depending on who's counting, who's needing to do jolt or take out the trash or whatever it might be. At closing time, breaking down everything, doing pre-close, all of that, you can have different positions listed according to your restaurant's needs. So that's just really handy. And we can easily navigate between each of these setups by clicking on them accordingly. We can also remove setups. So let's say I actually didn't need that 9 a.m. setup anymore. I'm going to go over to the team member roster and scroll to the bottom. And as I'm viewing the 9 a.m. setup, I have a couple of different options here for the setup controls, but I'm going to go ahead and remove the layout. So that just makes it really helpful to add and then remove the layout times. So next we're going to walk through the team member roster, and this is going to give us quite a bit of information to reference. So here at the top, we have a number of icons that are really helpful. So we have the number of team members that are on this particular setup time. As we navigate through the different times, you can see that number adjust accordingly. So if we go back to 11 a.m., we can see we have 27 team members for this particular time frame. Of those 27, 3 of them are assigned to a position. You can see all 3 of those team members listed here in the setup already. And then our shift strength is really based on the training module. So on a scale of 1 to 5, the shift strength tells us the team members that are in certain positions based on the training ratings that they have for those positions. That gives us an overall strength of the shift that is right now a 3.7. And hopefully as we plug team members into the setup, that number is going to go up. But if it doesn't, that's a clue to us. Either this is a great opportunity for training, we need to make sure we train people in these particular positions, or let's make adjustments to make sure our shift is strong and set up for success. And then finally, we have our leaders. So it's a helpful reference tool to know that we have one leader who's going to be on the shift with us today. As you scroll through, each of these team member cards have quite a bit of information listed on them. So we have the team member name, we have the position that the highest position that they are trained in, which is really helpful. We have their actual shift time frame, so 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. So as we're looking at the 11 a.m. setup, this text being read tells us that Bailey's actually off at 11. So that's helpful for us to reference. And then we finally have the area and hot schedules for which they're assigned. So if they're training, front of house, back of house, their driver, maybe other is listed for your team. All of that is going to be reflected here, which is really helpful. And then if they're a director or if they're on a certain position, that'll also be reflected on this side. So it's good to know. There's a number of icons here, which we'll get into details in a little bit, but just know that that's all unique to that individual and helps us just know basic information about them, breaks related based on their age and birthdays, some really fun information there. If we scroll to the bottom here, we have this little this divider that then reflects the 3 team members that are in the positions here. So as you drag and drop a team member into a position, they are going to show up here at the bottom. So as we get everybody into a slot, this list at the top is going to get shorter and shorter, and this list at the bottom is going to get longer and longer. If I scroll up to the top here though, I do want to make sure that Hortensia and Bailey are marked as not being on the shift for 11 a.m. because I know that they're going to be leaving. And actually, Callan also called in for today. So the best way to reflect that information is by just clicking on the card. I'm going to click on all 3 of them and scroll to the bottom, and you can see that their names are now crossed out at the bottom of the list. So very easy. Let's say Callan actually ended up coming in. I'm going to click his card one more time, and if I scroll to the top, I can see his card came right back. So great to make quick adjustments and on the fly. Also, we see that the Queen is not coming in, who's one of our directors, that's her nickname. She is not coming in until 11:30 this morning, and so I need to make sure that I put her in a position that it's okay if we don't have her until 11:30. So just really helpful to have that as well, and that's why that text is red to reflect a different time frame than what than this setup actually starts at. So next, let's walk through the actual creation of a setup. This is so much easier than paper and pen and writing things and scratching them out, having to erase them, right? So much easier, thankfully. So we can go over here to the team member roster, and I'm gonna go ahead and start plugging and dropping people into positions. I'm gonna click on Rachel's card and then hold it down and I'm gonna drag her over to different positions. Let's see. And just kind of plugging and playing here. Let's get Dustin over as our front bagger. Kaylee's going to be our floater. So what's really nice is that each of these positions are adjusted according to roughly the number of team members that you might have in those positions. So for floater, we have 2 different team member slot spaces, which is really nice. So we can easily view 2 team members there. IPOS, we have 3 team member slots, and most of the other positions have 1. So it's really helpful here as a quick glance. But what's nice is that these positions also expand if we add more team members to the positions, especially when it comes to training, right? That's really helpful. So Bailey in particular is going to be training today on front counter bagger. So I'm going to drag and drop her team member card into front counter bagger. Awesome, it expands, and now we can easily see that they're going to be working together on that bagging position. Next, I want to go ahead and make sure that I have a 10 o'clock setup ready to go as well. So let me finish dragging and dropping these positions. Right. And what's awesome is that I'm going to add a 10 a.m. setup and click create. And automatically, do you see that? We went from the 9 a.m. setup with the positions that I had posted, and if you click on the 10 a.m. setup, automatically brings all those team members over, keeping them in those spots. Of course, we can make any adjustments that we'd like to within that, but it's just helpful if when we add setups, it's going to keep those team members in spots for those who are still on the shift for that particular time, which is really nice. We also can scroll to the bottom of the team member roster, and we can either reset or copy different setups from different time frames. So I'm going to go ahead and click reset here, and you can see it clears it and takes me to just the team members who are automatically populated over into our leadership positions. But what I can do is copy either the 9 a.m. or the 11 a.m. So if I click copy the 9 a.m., it brings those team members right back over for those who are also listed in the 9 a.m. time slot. So really helpful there, and that's the basics of creating a setup for the front counter, and then we can easily click on that tab. Remember that tab here in the area selector. If I click on that, it takes us to the kitchen, and we can do the same thing over here with dragging and dropping. And you can see again, all those time slots are different, so you'll need to create setup times that are unique to those different areas based on what you would prefer. This is one of the best features, in my opinion, of the OneClickApp software, and it's so helpful to navigate in the midst of a shift. So what we can do is, let's go ahead and view those we only have a few here in the setup so far, but I'll go ahead and show you what the break management tool looks like. So let's say it's Jamie's turn to go on break. So we can see Jamie's working a total of 5 hours for the day, so Jamie does qualify for a break, which is why the team member cards are red. John, on the other hand, is only working 4 hours, so he doesn't actually qualify for a break based on the permissions and legal jurisdiction of this particular restaurant, right? So John's card is white, meaning he does not need any kind of a break. But Jamie, Andrea, and Taylor are all red, meaning they do need a break. So Jamie's about to go on break. Somebody's about to go and cover for that position. And I've just told them to go ahead and take over that position. I'm going to click on Jamie's card, and it's going to mark as pending. So this means that we are in transition. Maybe they're ordering their break food. We are waiting until they're actually starting their break, right? Then once they actually start their break, we are going to click on their card one more time, and it's going to green, which then marks them on break. And this is actually a countdown timer from 20 minutes because they get a 20-minute break today. And it's going to tell us when their break is done. If they're over time, it'll have a negative number there for us to view. Super helpful information. Also note, if we look over here on the team member roster, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and you can see Jamie has this green icon. So these icons actually adjust according to where they're at in their break process, right? So Taylor has the yellow icon now. And then let me go ahead and get Andrea on break. So when Jamie is done with his break, he's back from break, I'm going to click on that team member card one more time, and it now turns blue, saying the break is completed and done with. So now we can see each of these different options with the pending break, actually on break, and then the blue meaning that their break is completed. If for some reason you accidentally click on their team member card, not a problem at all. You can go ahead and click one more time, and it's going to reset us back to that red color icon. I'll go ahead and get us back to blue though. And then you can see it's all reflected here on the right-hand side. So just really helpful tool to see at a glance all of your team members on the setup who need a break right now, who are on break, and it really helps mitigate any kind of confusion. If people forget who they're supposed to take over a position for, no worries. Anyone can look at the OneClickApp and see what is the plan and what are we doing next. So let's dive into all the colors and icons that we see on our screen. As we go through this portion of the video, you will see all the colors that are here in the main setup area are also going to be reflected on those team members' cards in the team member roster. So first, let's start with our break management system. So we have a couple different colors that represent different portions of the break system. First, let's start with the red. Red means they need a break. So you can see on Sativa's card here, red, they qualify for a break, and then this teacup icon, again, is also red, means that they need a break. When it's time to go on break, there's a small portion of transition, right? You're having them order their food, maybe they're swapping places with somebody, whatever that might look like. We have this pending status. So the yellow with Kelsey means that she is pending, she's in transition to go on break. So pending, and again, you can see that reflected with that clock and yellow icon here in the team member roster. And then finally, we have when they're actually on break, right? So when Caleb is on break, we have this green color and the on break text there that also counts down from, in this case, the breaks are 20 minutes long, so he's 5 minutes into his break. Awesome. It's going to give us that constant countdown, and we'll even go into the negative number if he takes too long for his break, which is great to keep track of. So Caleb has this green, and again, the green icon here in the team member roster. When Caleb returns from break, I'm able to click his card, and then you see it turns blue. So, and again, that blue icon. So we know that that Caleb's break is completed at that point. So again, red for break, yellow for pending, green for them on break, and then the blue means that they have completed their break. So that's the break management system. We also, just as a side note, have team member cards who look like Ezra's or Vaca's here, where they don't actually have a color associated. That means that they don't qualify for a break for this particular shift based on the number of hours that they are working. So they don't qualify for a break. If for any reason a team member card is completely maroon, the entire thing is filled in with a maroon color, that means that they were once on the schedule, but then have been taken off the schedule and they're still notated in the setup. So then we would just need to take them off the schedule. So just heads up there anytime you see a full maroon card color. All right, next we have this double check mark icon. So this dark navy icon for Ezra means that Ezra is in some way, shape, or form working 2 shifts. If that is, maybe a short lunch shift and a short dinner shift, or if that is 2 different positions that he's assigned to in hot schedules for that day. But Ezra is in some way marked as working in 2 different places, 2 different shifts. So that double check mark will be there. We also have this pink icon for Vaca. That means that Vaca's birthday is on Thursday. So the pink icon is to represent the birthday, and then the day of the week that's associated with their birthday will be notated within that icon. So kind of cool. We can celebrate with our team members in that way. We then have the capital and lowercase m, and then cards without an M. So those without an M mean that this is our minor status, right? So those without an M mean that they are 18 years or older. The capital M is for 16 and 17-year-olds. And then the lowercase m that's listed here is for 15 years or younger. So just kind of keeping in mind the minor status. Of course, safety is such an important part of what you do at Chick-fil-A every day in the restaurant. And so keeping and paying attention to this minor status and having that as a quick note on OneClick is helpful because you know what equipment they can and cannot use, what tools they're eligible for, all of that. So great to keep that in mind and have that really close at hand. To get started, let's go over here to the tabs and actually view our team member tab, which is going to bring up that training module that we had looked at briefly earlier. So initially, it's going to reflect all of the team member names. Again, we can see those age and minor statuses here, as well as the highest position that they are trained in. I'll go ahead and click highest position, and there we go. So we have all of our team members' names listed on the side here, as well as you can start to see these bubbles based on some training that we have, training ratings that we have offered for team members in certain positions. When you scroll to the top, what's neat is that we have a couple different options and ways to look up information here. First of all, I can look up a team member's name by clicking here and typing Addison, so I can see both Addisons listed for our team members if I wanted to just view that team member. Or I can back out of that and just view everything at a glance. Also, if there's one particular position that I'm needing to fill for that day, what's great is that I can go ahead and select, let's say, bagger. I want to get our strongest bagger, and from a 5 down to a 1, it's going to have us have the team members in order to reflect all of those who have been rated for this particular position. And we can do that for any position that we might be interested in viewing. So that's really helpful, and you can see these colors are all associated with the rating itself. So we have our 5s, which is the darker blue, all the way to the 1, which is this red, and then a couple colors there in between. So really helpful to reference. Now, as far as giving an individual team member ratings, what I'm going to do is click on their team member name. And then there's great information here. So I can see the next couple of shifts that they are assigned and scheduled for, which is helpful, especially if I'm looking for training opportunities to get them into certain positions, right? And then I can click on this ratings tab that's here within this. So you can see the ratings history. So Jan gave Raymond the rating of 4.5 for the bagger position. But let's say we want to go ahead and rate him on dessert. So I'm going to click this dessert number. And what's awesome is that this is not a biased opinion anymore, right? This is unbiased. We're able to really be open and have consistency with our ratings. It's no longer per just whoever's opinion happens to be on shift, right? So we have categories written out and stars per each of those categories. So as I click on maybe 3 stars, 4 stars, you can see the terminology adjusts based on what we're looking for in accuracy for this position, in cleanliness for this position, communication, right? All of these have such specific descriptions that, again, really allow us to create that consistency. So you go through, you create the stars accordingly, and then here in this text box, we can say, did a great job today while bagging, right? And I can scroll to the bottom, I can see the information, and based on the stars that I just gave them, it's going to be a 3.2 score, and I'm going to submit that rating. And then it adds it to the ratings history and gives the color according to that rating that's offered. So really helpful here, great to provide those ratings and give that feedback. This also helps Raymond have in-person feedback right then and there to say, here's what you need to work on, and here's how you can grow stronger so that maybe we can get that 3.2 up to maybe a 4 next time you bag, right? So really creating that dialogue and conversation. So that is generally the training module. Let's go ahead and go back here, and we'll be able to view again, his information right here and those positions that we have rated him in. I really want to focus on these tabs, right? So we can see this schedule and see all of the upcoming times that Madison is slotted to work in the restaurant. Super awesome to just have this right here. We then have this option called Moolah. So Moolah is a feature specifically designed with OneClickApp software, and this is for an opportunity for you to reward your team. So a really great chance to say, hey, Madison, you did a great job today. You rocked it on drink making and just kept up so well. I'm going to go ahead and reward you for that. We have restaurants who use this differently. The most popular way to use this that we've seen is restaurants who reward moolah dollars, right, on the OneClickApp. And then later on in time, maybe once per quarter, they're able to go in and redeem different rewards, redeem different gifts and prizes, maybe Chick-fil-A swag, whatever that might look like, from their operator. So it's really cool to take that opportunity in the shift itself, reward them, say, great job, you were awesome, and here's why, and then here's a little gift for you, and then they can redeem points and their dollars later to get a gift from the team. This is a really neat way to add some accountability into your shift. Next, we did view ratings within the training module portion of this video, so go ahead and view that there if you'd like. Then we also have areas. So if they're assigned to front of house or back of house areas, that's going to be reflected here. And then we have permissions. This is probably one of the most helpful parts of this team member information, where we can assign different permission levels to each team member. So all of your leaders go through OneClick and give them permission as manager, as director, whatever that might look like for them, so they have appropriate access to the OneClickApp software and can make adjustments where needed. If you have questions about who gets what permissions and what does that look like, visit our frequently asked questions page at oneclickapp.com/FAQ. So that really concludes most of the details of OneClick. I'm going to navigate right back here to the front and just remind you that OneClickApp is really designed to be unique to your restaurant. We can customize just about every feature of this software. So let us know what we can do to help make this an even greater experience for you and your team. And we are so excited for you to get started. So here's what you can do next. Now that you've seen what the OneClickApp software has to offer, now it's time to actually dive in and start that 14-day free trial. So we would love for you to go to our website at oneclickapp.com and click on the button that says Start Your Free Trial. We're going to ask that you fill out the onboarding questionnaire and make sure that we know all of the different positions, because what's awesome is that for this free trial, we will go ahead for free, no cost, no contracts or anything required. We're going to set up and make your own version of the OneClick app so your team can test it out. See if this works for you. See how we can adjust different features to really make it what you and your team are needing to use. So go to OneClickApp.com and click that 14-day free trial button, and let's get started.